Jesus Christ. Was Jesus frustrated with Thomas? Had he grown impatient? Oh, Thomas, Thomas, you doubter. Faith can be a stepping stone, doubts can be a stepping stone towards greater faith. I don't think the reading suggests that Jesus was actually impatient with Thomas, but sincerely wanted Thomas to grow in faith. And if putting his finger in the side of Jesus was the stepping stone, so be it. One thing that I find great encouragement in it is the following. Now, Thomas wasn't there in the room at the time. All the rest of the apostles were in the room. Maybe Thomas was a courageous soul out in the streets, less fearful. Maybe. But it's not said also that the other apostles told Thomas, Thomas, we saw the wounds. But Jesus knew what Thomas had said. Unless I see the wounds and put my finger in the nail marks, I will not believe. Thomas had traveled with Jesus for 3 years. Think about it. He ate with him, they slept, they traveled. He saw the miracles. He knew he died. His master, his Lord, had died. You can't just tell me that was nothing, like it didn't happen. No, Thomas, it was something. But something greater still happened. So maybe Jesus, in telling Thomas to put his hand in his side, was really saying, Thomas, I hope that you would travel all the way to my heart. That your mind, your heart would be elevated in the virtue of faith. And that you would love me beyond this moment. Yes, the wounds are here. And now they are in a resurrected body. Well, today we are celebrating divine mercy. And maybe that was a great gift of mercy for Thomas. Many of you probably saw Les Miserables. Huh? Les Miserables. And Les Miserables is a great... It's really coming down hard, isn't it? You're going to have a great time going home. Les Miserables is a lot about mercy, too. It's a great story about mercy. So Jean Valjean is this poor person who takes some bread from a baker to feed his sister's children during an economic depression. In a very unfair way, he ends up going to prison. And because he tried to escape several times, his stay in prison was lengthened up to 19 years. When he got out, he was essentially a hardened criminal. The system made him as such. And the police inspector, Javert, sought many ways to get him back in prison. Well, one day, Jean Valjean, staying with the bishop, steals some silverware and some silver plates. And Javert, the police chief instructor, catches him and brings him back to the bishop. And the bishop looks at him and says, Jean Valjean, you forgot the silver candlesticks. Here they are. Rather than clubbing him, he gave him mercy. And from that moment on, Jean Valjean was different. He would go on to treat all human beings in a different way with the kind of mercy that he received. And so he cared for, and if you will, fathered a young girl whose mother had died. He would sometimes hire those, others would not hire. He was a man who showed love and compassion and mercy. And so it is our story too. Jesus, who comes to give us mercy today, wants to flood our hearts with it that we in turn would pass it on. Thomas reached into Jesus' side, but Jesus wants Thomas to know his merciful heart. Let's take a moment now, pierce through the side of Christ into the merciful heart of Jesus.